than a martyr. He's the word of the Father. The word is a sword that cuts armor, the Excalibur, with more power and sharper. But since God wrote the words that will make him the King Arthur, we was his children, then we became foster kids, cause our sins had no sacrifice for the altar. Christ died for us, he was slaughtered. So now my baptism's food coloring, I'ma die in this water. This is the good news, he was our reporter. A unit of special victims, we needed some law and order. All praise are higher in the name of Yeshua. That's the name he gave when the bush burned with fire. Who's the Messiah that we require? To reach the kingdom is what we desire. And I know that it feel like it's taking long, but we have to be patient and hold on.
We're on our way.
We on our way now. We on our way now.
Israel is going to be saved.
We on our way now. We on our way now.
And all we gotta do is watch and pray.
Just watch and pray now. Just watch and pray now.
Keep the laws and hold on to our faith. To Judgment Day, we're on our way.
We on our way now. We on our way now.
Israel is going to be
We
saved.
on our way now. We on our way now.
And all we gotta do is watch and pray.
Just watch and pray now. Just watch and pray now.
Keep the laws and hold on to our faith. And one day we will all be saved.
All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua. All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua. All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua. All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua. All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua. All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua. All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua. All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua.
The kingdom's coming, but at times it seems so far. And all the tribulation makes this life seem so hard. But we must be patient, cause our reward will be great. So I'm waiting on that day, cause if we endure to the end, we'll be saved.
All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua. All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua. All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua. All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua.
We on our way, Israel is going to be saved.
We on our way now. We on our way now.
And all we gotta do is watch and pray.
Just watch and pray now. Just watch and pray now.
Keep the laws and hold on to our faith. To Judgment Day, we're on our way.
We on our way now. We on our way now.
Israel is going to be
We on our way now.
and all we gotta do is watch and pray.
Just watch and pray now. Just watch and pray now.
Keep the laws and hold on to our faith. And one day we will all be saved.
All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua. All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua. All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua. All praise the higher in the name of Yeshua.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom to all the brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. We bid you a hearty and healthy Shabbat Shalom. And we would like to give all praises to the Most High Ahaya, Bahashem Yeshaya, Wawawak Kadash, which I just said is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit in the ancient Hebrew tongue, right? I guess we'll start off with the Lord's Prayer and the Hebrew Credo, just to start it off. And everybody online, you guys can just repeat after us and join in, right? So just to make it clear, what we're gonna recite is Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one in the Hebrew, and then we're gonna go right into the Lord's Prayer, right? You guys ready? Shalom. All right. Shemai,
Shemai,
Yasharala,
Yasharala,
Ahaya,
Ahaya,
Allahayanawa,
Allahayanawa,
Ahaya,
Ahaya,
Achad,
Achad,
Shemai,
Shemai,
Yasharala,
Yasharala,
Ahaya,
Ahaya,
Allahayanawa,
Allahayanawa,
Ahaya,
Ahaya,
Achad.
Achad.
Hear, O Israel, our God is one. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen. Once again, Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters, throughout the four corners of the earth. How's everybody doing? Cold. Blessed by the best. All right. And I hope everybody online, you brothers and sisters, had a good week thus far, and just overall just happy and healthy. brothers and sisters of the Most High, right? Last week, I know we did something different, something new for you guys. We had a roundtable discussion, which we're gonna do a part 2 real soon. But once again, we want to apologize for the way the state of the stream yesterday, last week. But yeah, we're still working on that, right? Tonight's lesson, as you guys can see the title, make sure it's up. Yeah, it's called Rededicating the Temple, right? Rededicating the Temple. And this lesson is actually right on time for what we actually going into for the feast, right? Going into the feast tomorrow, right? The feast of dedication, right? So this and what was funny about this lesson been in my spirit for about 2 weeks now, and I just never had a chance to really sit down and go in and focus on it. Yo, if you could text the
Dex?
the chat. Let the chat the stream. All right, thanks. Yeah, so this lesson been on my spirit for a while. And the funniest thing, I'm gonna just share this with you guys before I go into the lesson, was that I was telling Brother Yaquar earlier, I was out, like, as I'm preparing the lesson, it's like distraction after distraction after distraction kept coming out. I'm sitting down trying to, put the lesson together. People calling, texting, people who have been thinking about calling me, just taking up a lot of the time. But through the Spirit of the Most High, I was able to get the lesson done. So I pray that this lesson falls on ears that really needs to hear this, right? So we're gonna go right into it, right? Rededicating our temples, and like I said, this lesson was inspired, by tomorrow's feast, the feast of dedication, and we're gonna actually go into that today a little bit, just so people can get the history of what this feast is actually about, right? We're gonna start off. We want to start off with Christ, right? What Christ was saying, something that he said that was very key, that we all grew up hearing, but didn't really actually understand this very saying, right? Of what Christ was speaking about when he said this in John the 15th chapter. Let's go there. John the 15th chapter, starting at verse 13. And I just want to read this one verse, so that way we could get some clarity, right? So let's go there. John 15 and 13.
St. John chapter 15 and 13.
Mm-hmm.
Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends.
So Christ said, greater love, there's no greater love than this, that a friend, right, should lay down, or that a man should lay down his life for his friends, right? So growing up, I thought to actually have true and genuine love for my friends or somebody that I meet was that I would have to die for them, right? Is that necessarily true? Is this what Christ talking about? Because we understand that Christ's purpose for coming to this earth was to die, but this verse right here actually has a double meaning, and we're gonna get that double meaning for you right now, right? Why does this have a double meaning? Let's examine that verse again one more time. Read that one more time.
St. John 15 and 13. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends.
That is, that a man shall lay down his life for his friends. Now, what is this double meaning to this verse that Christ is talking about? Because like I said, I grew up thinking that I really had to just die for people that I love, die for my friends, right? But let's get the understanding of what Christ was saying, that there's no greater love than a man to lay down his life for his friends. The first meaning we already understand is what? Death. Now let's get that understanding how Christ explained it. Let's go to Matthew, the 26th chapter, right? And take it at verse 1, right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
St. Matthew chapter 26 and 1. And it came to pass, when Yeshua had finished all these sayings, he said unto his disciples, Ye know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified.
And the Son of Man is to be crucified. So that was the first meaning, right? That's the first and very evident, plain meaning of what that means to lay down your life for your friend. Christ was explaining to his disciples that, look, you know that in 2 days I'm going to get crucified and sacrificed for the whole nation of Israel. So that was the first meaning. So now what is the second meaning? Now let's see if we could figure it out through Christ's second sayings, right? Hold that right there. Let's go to Matthew 18 and 11. Go ahead.
St. Matthew chapter 18 verse 11.
Uh-huh.
For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost.
So it says here that the Son of Man is come to save them which are lost, right? So first of all, we see that Christ came for it to be sacrificed, but he also came to do what? Read that again.
The Son of Man is come to save that which was lost.
To save that which was lost. Now, when you're saving something that's lost, right? That's an action that you're doing for something that you're trying to find, right? Not necessarily saying that thing is trying to find you, right? So that's an action that you're doing that's outside of your own gain, right? How do we understand this? Now, another verse to explain this. Stick with me. John the 5th chapter, verse 30. And by the end of these precepts, you'll understand the second meaning of what Christ was saying, that no greater love than this, than a man shall lay down his life for his friend. One is death, and the second one is what? Doing something outside of your will for someone else. Watch. Get that.
St. John.
St. John's 5, verse 30.
Chapter 5 and 30.
Listen to this.
I can of mine own self do nothing.
He said, I can of my own self do nothing.
As I hear, I judge.
As I hear, I judge. Go ahead.
And my judgment is just. Because I seek not mine own will.
But because he seeks not his own will.
But the will of the Father which hath sent me.
So, but he came to do what?
The will, my judgment is just, but I seek not mine own will. But the will of the Father which hath sent me.
But he's coming to do the will of the Father who sent him. Go ahead.
Verse 31. If I bear witness of myself.
If I bear witness of myself.
My witness is not true.
My witness is not true. So basically, Christ is understanding that the life that he's laying down is his own life, physically and, emotionally, or how we would say, our own will. So Christ was not just coming to die for the nation of Israel. He was coming to save them by not having a life, if I should say that. You understand? Not doing what his flesh was leading him to do, or what his flesh wanted him to do. So now with this example, by the end of this lesson, you're gonna understand this is the example that Christ was leaving behind for us on how to operate with each other. Doing something for somebody else's benefit, doing something for somebody else's good. Right? That was it on that verse?
Yeah.
And the last one, John 17. Right? St. John 17 and 24. Listen to this real quick, guys.
St. John chapter 17 and 24. Father, I will that they also, whom thou hast given me, be with me where I am, that they may behold my glory, which thou hast given me.
So you see that? So Christ was wishing that those that the Father gave him could be with him, so they can actually see the glory that he was going to receive for everything that he's endured for us, right? Go ahead.
For thou lovedest me before the foundation of the world.
The Most High loved Christ before the foundation of the world, right? Go ahead.
25. O righteous Father, the world hath not known thee.
Listen to this. He said, the world has not known thee. Go ahead.
But I have known thee.
Uh-huh.
And these have known that thou hast sent me.
Go ahead.
26.
Listen to 26.
And I have declared unto them thy name.
And now this is very important here. It says that Christ has declared, and when you go into the Greek for that, the word declare means revealed. So this says Christ has revealed the Most High's name to those that the Most High gave him. Read that again.
From 25?
26.
From 26. Verse 26. And I have declared unto them thy name. And will declare it.
And will declare it, and I will reveal it. Go ahead.
That the love wherewith thou hast loved me may be in them.
Go ahead.
And I in them.
So you see that? So that's another scripture proving and showing that even during the time of Christ, the people didn't know the Most High's name. You know, we have brothers and sisters out there who say that the Most High's name is Yahweh. It's Yahweh. You know, they knew the name Yahweh back then. It was inscribed in the ancient scrolls and in the tablets and all this other stuff that people want to bring out, the stellas. But the name of the Most High was only revealed through Christ to bring it to the children of Israel, and who has revealed it to us today. I am that I am. Ahaya. Right? So we see that in verse 24. I just wanted to get verse 26 just to prove that. But in verse 24, we see that that Christ came into this world, right, to fulfill a task not of his own doing, not of his own will, because we understand it was not of his own will, because when it was time for him to get crucified in the garden, he prayed to the Father and said, take this cup from me. If there's another way, let me try it. But if this is the way you want me to do it, let your will be done. You see that? So Christ understood and was teaching us, right, how to operate when you're not going to benefit from it. Now, how many of us could really do that? You understand? How many of us could do something for somebody else with the strength and understanding that, I'm not going to get nothing from it, but, my brother or my sister is going to be good. Right? And this is why we're talking about rededicating our temple. Because you're going to find out through the history that we're going to go through, the children of Israel went through different captivities when they tried to rebuild, but something was missing. Right? Something was missing that Christ came to show. Right? Doing something outside of your own will to help somebody, laying down your life, laying down your own happiness to make someone else happy. And this is what Christ did. And this is what Christ was showing us to do, and how to really come back to the Father. Right? Now with the understanding of the two meanings of what Christ was saying, no greater love than this, than a man should lay down his life for his friend. Now let's go to John. Let's go back to John the 10th chapter, and we're gonna take it at verse 1. Right? So we understand that what we read, okay, in John 15 and 13 has two meanings. Right? One was the evident part, being crucified, actually laying down his physical life, for his friends, and also understanding that with that laying down his life came him not doing his own will, but for the betterment of who? The nation. This is how we're actually supposed to operate under Christ, doing things for each other, even when you're not going to benefit from it. Because we should be happy with you should be happy when your brother or your sister benefits, from something that you help them do. That should be satisfaction enough. But there's something that's going on in this world right now where everybody is more concerned about themselves. Oh, it's all about me. Let me take a selfie. Okay? Let me put up some pictures of, like, when you scroll down Instagram, all you see is people all day taking pictures like this by themselves. Like, it's all about the glory of themselves. Right? Whatever happened to brotherhood, sisterhood, right? Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to family? Whatever happened to togetherness? Right? Everybody wants to be the star. But Christ didn't come for his own individualism. He came for the betterment of the people, to teach the people this is how you guys are gonna make it. And we're gonna show you how the nations feed off of us being divided. Okay? When we're divided, the nations actually benefit off that. And Christ was trying to show the children of Israel, like, this is how you were going to make it. Lay down your life for your friend or for your brother or your sister, so that way you all could prosper. If he's good, I'm good. If she's good, I'm good. That's how we gotta think. Nah, let me get this for myself first. Let me make sure I got this, and then I'll put everybody else on later. That's not how the kingdom is gonna go, right? So now, like I said, back to John 10 and starting at verse 1 to get the understanding now, right? Since we understand that the two meanings. Go ahead.
St. John chapter 10, verse 1. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is the thief and a robber.
He said, verily, verily, I say unto you, anybody who enters in through the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth another way, is not of that fold, is a thief, is a robber, right? Go ahead.
Verse 2. But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep.
Go ahead.
To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name.
Go ahead.
And leadeth them out.
Go ahead.
Verse 4. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him. They know his voice. And a stranger will they not follow.
You see that? So Christ was already breaking it down to them, that I'm the shepherd, and what I'm saying to do, my sheep is gonna listen and follow. But a stranger they will not listen to. You're gonna find out that from Israel's inception, from coming out of Egypt, we've been accustomed to listening to strangers. Christ came to show that, look, you guys gotta stop listening to these strangers. You guys gotta stop letting these other nations influence your actions. This is what Christ is dropping here. Go ahead.
Verse 4.
Yeah.
And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers.
See, so the sheep are supposed to flee from the voices of strangers. Go ahead.
Verse 6. This parable spake Yeshua unto them, but they understood not what the things they were which he spake unto them. Verse 7. Then Yeshua said unto them again, verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. So
now he's breaking it down. He's like, yo, you guys been following the strangers? Let me break it down to you, because I see you guys don't understand how I'm speaking. It's me. You follow me. That's basically what he's saying. I'm that door that you guys got to get in. Y'all been going through all those other doors through those different nations, and look where it got you. Captivity, slain, broken. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 8. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers.
All that ever came before Christ were thieves and robbers. Right? Go ahead.
But the sheep did not hear them.
You see? The sheep did not hear them. The true followers didn't hear them. Go ahead.
Verse 9. I am the door. By me if any man enter in, he shall be saved.
Go ahead.
And shall go in and out and find pasture. Verse 10. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, and to kill and to destroy.
You see that? So that's what the thief does. He comes in to kill and steal and destroy. Come in and take your ideas and use you for your wealth and your gains and your talents, and then he's out the door. Right? Go ahead.
The second line in 10. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly.
Go ahead.
Verse 11. I am the good shepherd.
So Christ, now I want you guys to pay attention to verse 11 now. He said, I am the good shepherd. Go ahead.
The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep.
You see that? Didn't we get the double meaning for what that means? This is why I had to go through the precept so you guys can understand this verse right here. Read that verse again.
Verse 11, St. John 10 and 11. I am the good shepherd.
Christ saying, he is the good shepherd. Go ahead.
The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep.
The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. He's going to die for the sheep, and he's not going to do his own pleasures, but to make the sheep benefit from his, from his sacrifice. Right? Go ahead. Verse 12.
Verse 12.
Now listen to this now. Go ahead.
But he that is an hireling.
But he that is a hireling.
And not the shepherd.
And not the shepherd.
Whose own the sheep are not. Seeth the wolf coming.
So now, the other nations that you've been following, they see you walking into imminent danger. And they see it happening. They looking at y'all fighting each other like crabs in a bucket. But you know what? Let's continue to use them because these people are talented. All right? We could benefit from these people, but what you're giving them is going to give them cancer. Don't worry. We gonna benefit from them not being here. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Whose own the sheep are not,
Who own the sheep are not,
seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep.
and leaveth the sheep. Why? Because he's only here to use you. These other nations that we've been following this whole time, okay, are only using us for their own gain. Now the question is, when will we wake up and band together and use our talents, whether it benefits us or not, to help each other out? You see that? Go ahead.
And leaveth the sheep and fleeth.
And leaveth the sheep and he fleeth. Go ahead.
And the wolf catcheth them,
And the wolf catches them.
and scattereth the sheep.
You see that? And scattereth the sheep. Because why? There's no real shepherd there to really lead them and show them how to be the sheep of the pasture. Christ is showing it the whole time. You see that? He was showing he was showing his disciples and the children of Israel how to rely on, and I always like to go through scriptures like this to show how Christ was really changing and shaping the mind of the people. Right? Showing them like, look, like, yo, the other nations benefit from what y'all do every day. Why can't you come together and do it? These wolves and these hirelings are only coming for their personal gain. They know you're not doing the right things. They know you're the Most High's chosen people, but they're not gonna tell you because they gotta continue getting their pockets fat. I.e., in comes religion and controlled theology. That's how they control you, right? Go ahead. What verse you at?
What was it? 12? 13. Verse 13.
Listen to this.
The hireling fleeth,
The hireling fleeth
because he is an hireling,
because he is a hireling
and careth not for the sheep.
and careth not for the sheep. So Christ was showing it the whole time. Follow me. Okay? I will show you how to lay down your life for your friends. My example is good. I'm showing, like, his walk was actually showing us how we were supposed to operate with each other. He came to save the lost, which what we're supposed to do. He came to show the lost how to operate outside of yourself and to help each other.
He didn't curse those who cursed him.
He didn't curse those who cursed him, right? He didn't blame the white man, the Arab man. He didn't blame them. He just showed them the ills from the outside looking in. Like, yo, look, you don't see the hirelings? You don't see them? I'm showing you here how to lay down your life for your friend. That's the greatest thing. That's the greatest love you could do for somebody, is to look outside of yourself and help that person get better. Not try to tear him down, because that's what the nations is doing already. So if the nations is doing that to us already, why are we doing that to ourselves? Christ said it again. He said, a nation divided against itself cannot stand. And you really have to really examine Christ's words to see what we're saying right now. Right? Read what you finished verse 13, right?
Yeah, it's just one line, but that's it.
Read it again, verse 13, real quick.
Verse 13,
Right.
St. John 10. The hireling fleeth because he is an hireling,
See?
and careth not for the sheep.
And careth not for the sheep.
14. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am none of mine.
So
And am known
of mine. So Christ is basically saying, my sheep know me. Okay? And when my sheep realize what's going on around them, they will leave off from following these nations and follow me. This is what Christ is saying, actually, when you really dissect the words. Okay? This is what and this is what we've been lacking, because why? Our people, like, let's go back into what we was talking about last week. Our people would try to go into any other doctrine under the earth just to stay away from the Bible. They'll follow the white man's way of life. They'll follow the Egyptians' way of life. They'll follow the African culture. They'll follow the Arab man. They'll follow the Chinese man with Buddhism. But they'll never come back to the book that was made for them. Because why? Christ's sheep hear his voice. And they still following the hirelings that's not even here to protect them. Now you tell me, where has Islam gotten our people since our people became Muslims, or whatever you want to call them, following Muhammad, right? Till you show me, or you tell me what happened to our people by just forming the Black Panther Party outside of what Christ is doing. Where are they? Right? So now an example of this, let's go to the book of Ezekiel, right? Because like I said, this lesson is supposed to show us how to rededicate our temples, right? Let's go to Ezekiel, the 16th chapter, one of my favorite books, right? Ezekiel 16, and start at verse 32. Listen to this real quickly, because this is this is how the Most High was viewing the children of Israel, because of how they were dealing with the other nations, how they longed to serve and follow the other nations, and was never. And the crazy part is, throughout, if you follow the history of the children of Israel, they never benefited from what they was following from the other nations. All it got them was destroyed and taken over. And we're going to get examples of that too, right? Read this real quick, Ezekiel 16 and 32.
The book of Ezekiel 16, verse 32. But as a wife that committeth adultery,
As a wife that committeth adultery,
which taketh strangers instead of her husband, they give gifts to all whores, but thou givest thy gifts to all thy lovers.
look at that. So basically, it was saying even a wife that commits adultery, she receives gifts from her mistresses, or from the people she's fornicating with, right? As an adulterer. But the Most High was saying, look at you. You giving your gift to all your lovers. Why aren't you getting anything in return? Israel? You see that? Go ahead, read that. Go ahead.
The second line, 33.
No, read 33
33?
from the top again.
top.
Yeah.
Verse 33. They give gifts to all whores.
They give gifts to all whores, but what?
But thou givest thy gifts
Thou-
to all thy lovers.
But thou givest thy gifts to all thy lovers. You get used. It's the other way around with Israel. Go ahead.
and hirest them.
And you hire them to use you. Can I get a job, please? You guys hiring? That's what the Most High is looking at us. Go ahead.
That they may come unto thee on every side from thy whoredom.
You see that? Now all of the nations like, yo, these are the people that we could use. They come and they circle around us like knowing these are the people that we could benefit from. Let's use them because they don't know how to operate together. Christ was trying to show them, but they're not even paying attention to that. They want to follow the Egyptian book of the dead. When Christ was showing our people how to operate with one another by first laying down your life for your brother or sister. If you don't understand that concept, you will never make it. I don't care what black political party you're a part of, what black nationalist group you're trying to be down with, what community you're trying to rebuild. It will never work. It would always fail because why? You're not following the key principle of laying down your life for your brother. You guys are gonna continue to be crabs in a bucket. Crabs in a bucket. Everybody trying to fight to get to the top, and no one is trying to help you get to the top. Go ahead.
34. And the contrary is in thee from other women in thy whoredom.
And look, and the contrary is of you from other women. Other nations benefit from the other nations, but you can't benefit because you're silly, you're foolish. You get used and abused and don't think why you're getting used and abused. You don't see there's nothing wrong with it. You think it's okay. That's how the Most High is viewing his people. Go ahead.
Whereas none followeth thee to commit whoredom.
Look at that. Nobody is following what you're doing, but you want to follow the nations and see how they're prospering. That's always been the problem with the children of Israel. We was always trying to find out what the other gods were of the other nations and not considering the God that saved us out of Egypt. And all the nations knew about the powerful God that we serve, and they feared us. But yet we wanted to be used by the other nations still. Go ahead.
The second line in 34. Whereas none followeth thee to commit whoredoms, And in that thou givest a reward.
And with that, you still give a reward. Go ahead.
And no reward is given unto thee.
And no reward is given unto you. Why? Because you're selfish. You only worried about yourself. Right? Go ahead.
Therefore thou art contrary.
Therefore thou art contrary. And we see it all the time with the other nations. You see when the Chinese man come here from China, they set up their little Chinatowns, and they're all operating together to make their community thrive. The Russians, they have their little area, little Russia, where they all go and thrive. The white man got Manhattan, or all of the main cities, or wherever state you at, where they operate together and they make their cities work. Then you come into the ghettos where robbing, stealing, and killing each other, and you wonder why we have protesters called Black Lives Matter. Okay, or you wonder why no one respects professional athletes when we try to stand for something and take a knee like Colin Kaepernick. No one cares. No one respects us because why? We don't respect ourselves. And here it is in the scriptures. Christ was showing us the whole time, but we reject Christ. We want to go into the Nuwabic way of life, and we totally regarding what Christ was teaching. You see that? What verse was that?
35 now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 35. Wherefore, O harlot, hear the word of the Most High.
He said, and look how the Most High is addressing his chosen. You don't think it grieves the Most High to call us that? To talk about his chosen people like that? It grieves him when he sees the estate of our people, chosen royalty people, relegated as slaves and being used. Look how he addresses us. He says, wherefore, O harlot, hear the word of the Most High. Listen to the word. Maybe this would revive you and shake you up and make you see that this is the way that you've been forsaken the whole time. Go ahead.
35. Wherefore, O harlot, hear the word of the Most High.
Hear the word of the Most High.
Thus saith the Lord Power Ahiah. Because thy filthiness was poured out.
Because of your filthiness poured out. Go ahead.
And thy nakedness discovered through thy whoredoms with thy lovers. And with all the idols of thy abominations. And by the blood of thy children, which thou didst give unto them. Behold, therefore I will gather all thy lovers with whom thou hast taken pleasure, and all them that thou hast loved, with all them that thou hast hated. I will even gather them round about against thee, and will discover thy nakedness unto them.
Look at that.
That they may see all thy nakedness.
You see that? So the Most High said that, you know what? I'm going to expose you even more amongst the people that you love to follow. I'm going to let the world know that these are the people that you can use. You can mistreat. You can say whatever you want about these people. You could talk bad about them. And every other nation will support you on that. Because why? We are a nation robbed. We've been following the hirelings for a very long time. And we refuse to follow the God that saved us out of Egypt. Right? What verse you at? Verse
38 now.
38, go ahead.
Verse 38. And I will judge thee as women that break wedlock.
I will judge thee as women that break wedlock.
And shed blood are judged. And I will give thee blood and fury and jealousy.
See, this is what the Most High promised to give his people because we refuse to follow him. You see that? So here's an example right there of what's going on. And how the Most High views us when we refuse to work together. And when we refuse to come out from under the arms of these nations. Right? So now, let's get a real-time story. Right? Let's go to the book of Nehemiah. Right? When the children of Israel was a situation where they came together to work together to accomplish a goal. Right? Let's go to Nehemiah, Nehemiah 1. Right? Take it at verse 1. I want you guys to understand. For those of you who don't understand this story or who haven't read it yet, right? Go ahead.
Nehemiah chapter 1 and 1. The words of Nehemiah the son of Hakalia. And it came to pass in the month of Chislu, in the 20th year, as I was in Shushan the palace.
So, and guess what month that is? Right now, we're in this month right now, right? Where it says here, the 9th month, right? So in the 9th month, let's see what happened to Nehemiah, right? During the Feast of Dedication. Well, it wasn't the Feast of Dedication yet, but we understand it to be the Feast of Dedication because we're going to get that later on, right? Go ahead.
Verse 2.
And this is under the Persian captivity now, right? See? Go ahead.
Verse 2. That Hanani, one of my brethren, came and certain men of Judah. And I asked them concerning the Jews that had escaped, which were left of their captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. And they said unto me, the remnant that are left of their captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach.
And look what was happening to our people during that time. Because there were some of us who were still in Jerusalem when some of us got carried away by the Persian captivity at that time. Right? Go ahead.
The wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire.
So now I just wanted to read that to get you a scenario of what's going on or what's taking place around this time period. The walls of Jerusalem was broken down, a high defense that we had that kept the other nations in. So it was destroyed. Why was it destroyed? Because we're not following our God. He let the other nations come in and destroy us at that time. Because we wasn't working together. We wasn't keeping his commandments. We were sacrificing our children to other strange gods. That's what happens as a result for not listening. Right? So the Most High allowed the wall, our wall of defense, to be destroyed by the hands of the Gentiles. Right? Right? So now, keep reading. I just want
Verse
to get
4.
Yeah.
And it came to pass when I heard these words that I sat down and wept and mourned certain days and fasted and prayed before the power of heaven Ahijah. Verse 5. And said, I beseech thee, O Lord, power of heaven, the great and terrible God, that keepeth covenant and mercy for them that love him and observe his commandments. Verse 6. Let thine ear now be attentive, and thine eyes be open, that thou mayest hear the prayer of thy servant, which I pray before thee now, day and night, for the children of Israel thy servants, and confess the sins of the children of Israel, which we have sinned against thee. Both I and my father's house have sinned.
So you see that? So here's, priest Nehemiah prophet Nehemiah, is speaking to the Most High, concerning the sins of our forefathers and the sins of his own family too, trying to repent. Because he understood that they was in captivity for them going off, them following the other nations, right? So the story goes on, just to give you guys a quick synopsis. The story goes on where he's actually a servant in the king's house of the king of Persia, and he petitions to the king of Persia. And I guess he was a high-ranking servant for the king because he was offering the king wine at a point in time, and you read that in the 2nd chapter. And the king seen him and was like, yo, why you look so sad? So he expressed to him like, yo, matter of fact, let's read that real quick. Go to chapter 2, right? Chapter 2. This is the reason why the king asked him. Read Nehemiah 2:2. Listen to this.
Nehemiah chapter 2 verse 2. Wherefore the king said unto me, why is that countenance sad?
Why are you sad? Because he's usually happy, joyful. But when he got the report of what was going on in Jerusalem with his brethren, how they was getting slain and killed by the other nations, and the wall of their fence that they had was broken, that hurt him. Because why? He was looking towards the benefit of his people. He cared about his people. He didn't say, oh, that's them. That ain't me. All right. I didn't go through those slave ships. That don't got nothing to do with me. That ain't me. And a lot of our people talk like that. I mean, I used to be a person who used to say that to me. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
That didn't happen to me. That was slavery. That's not me. That's because I had no knowledge of history. That was me. You understand? So here it is. Prophet Nehemiah was sad. So now the king is asking him, what's going on with you? Why are you sad? Right? Go ahead.
He says, why is that countenance sad, seeing thou art not sick? This is nothing else but sorrow of heart. Then I was very sore afraid. Verse 3. And said unto the king, let the king live forever. Why should not my countenance be sad? when the city, the place of my father's sculptures, lieth waste, and the gates thereof are consumed with fire. Then the king said unto me, For what dost thou make request? So I prayed to the God of heaven, and I said unto the king, If it please the king, and if thy servant have found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldest send me unto Judah, unto the cities of my fathers,
Unto the city of my fathers. Go ahead.
sculptures, that I may build it.
The sepulchre, so I could build it.
Sepulchres.
Right, go ahead.
Verse 6. And the king said unto me, the queen also sitting by him, For how long shall thy journey be? And when wilt thou return?
So the king wanted him to come back because, like, remember, you're still a servant. Right? Go ahead.
So it pleased the king to send me.
So now the story goes, the king sends him, right? So now in chapter 3, it gives you a rundown of all of the names of the families of the men of Israel who was helping rebuild the wall. You know, different families had different tasks to do, had their parts to do in building the wall back again, right? Now go to Nehemiah 4:1, right? Let me show you guys something here. When it comes, how the other nations view us when we start to work together, they don't like it because they understand our potential and they know what happens when we work together, right? Nehemiah 4:1.
Get called out. What are you doing?
Yep.
Nehemiah chapter 4 verse 1. But it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that we builded the wall, he was wroth.
See, a Gentile. Go ahead.
And took great indignation and mocked the Jews. Verse 2.
What he said.
And he spake before his brethren in the army of Samaria and said.
Now the Samaritans is joining in and getting at us, right? Because we trying to work together now. Go ahead.
What do these feeble Jews?
What do these what?
Feeble Jews.
They looking at us saying, look at these feeble, broke down Jews. And mind you, they had every right to talk about us like that. Because why? We've been exposed already. We weren't the valiant men of valor and women of valor as we were. We wasn't that great people no more. The Most High allowed us to become trodden, as we are to this day. Go ahead.
Will they fortify themselves?
Will they fortify themselves? Will they try to protect themselves with a wall? Go ahead.
Will they sacrifice? Will they make an end in a day? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of the rubbish which are burned?
Look at that. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Now Tobiah the Ammonite was by him, and he said, Even that which they build, if a fox go up, he shall even break down their stone
wall. And look at them. Now they joking on the children of Israel. They're saying, even if a fox touch the wall, it's gonna crumble and fall. Having no faith in our power, in our ingenuity, right? Mocking us to scorn during this time. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Hear, O our power, for we are despised, and turn their reproach upon their own head.
So now we started to pray against them. Go ahead.
And give them for a prey in the land of captivity.
Go ahead.
Verse 5. And cover not their iniquity, and let not their sin be blotted out from before thee. For they have provoked thee to anger before the builders. So, verse 6. So built we the wall, and all the wall was joined together unto the half thereof. For the people had a mind to work.
So you see that? Read that again. So we what? So built
Verse
we the
6.
wall.
So built we the wall, and all the wall was joined together unto the half thereof. For the people had a mind to work.
For the people had a mind to work. So you see, we can examine this to see when things were going wrong, even though they were in error. All of them had the sense to be like, you know what, we're destroyed. Let's come together under the same understanding and build, not under the Black Conscious movement, but under the movement of the Most High. Understanding that we broke the commandments, and let's work together with one mind to do this thing. And the story goes on that we actually completed it. Go ahead, continue reading.
Verse 7. But it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up.
See, we putting it together now. We building it because we were all working together. We understand that there are enemies and we need to protect ourselves. We need to protect each other. Right? Go ahead and look what the other nations were saying. Go ahead.
And that the breaches began to be stopped. Then they were very wroth.
They were mad. because they understood once we started to come back together, they can no longer use us as slaves and as merchandise. They understand that, and these nations played a big part on us, not coming together. But it still fell on us, though. Go ahead. Verse 8.
Verse 8. And conspired all of them together to come and to fight against Jerusalem and to hinder it.
See that?
9.
So they came to fight against us to stop the progress. Ain't nothing new under the sun. They'll do anything in their power to stop our rising together, our movement together as a people. We've seen it happen under Malcolm X. We've seen it happen under Martin Luther King. You see that? Every time we try,
even at your everyday job.
When they see too much blacks or Negroes hanging around together, they try to break it up.
Comes.
Yeah,
hey,
break it up.
One of you guys go downstairs and put the waters out, pack the waters out, ready to get back to work.
And that's it. And you see, and that's an example that we could use. That's what they do all the time. You see that? Go ahead.
Verse 9. Nevertheless, we made our prayer unto our power, and set a watch against them day and night.
See, they set a watch against them day and night
because of them. Verse 10. And Judah said, the strength of the bearers of burdens is decayed, and there is much rubbish, so that we are not able to build a wall. Verse 11. And our adversaries said, they shall not know neither see, till we come in the midst among them, and slay them, and cause the work to cease. And it came to pass that when the Jews which dwelt by them came, they said unto us 10 times, From all places whence ye shall return unto us, they will be upon you. Verse 13. Therefore set I in the lower places behind the wall, and on the higher places I even set the people after their families with their swords, their spears and their bows. 14. And I looked and rose up and said unto the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, Be not ye afraid of them. Remember the Lord Ahiah, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons and your daughters.
And fight for your brethren and your sons and your daughters,
your wives and your houses.
So now you see that? So now we can see where the spirit comes from, that be coming into our men who be rising up and trying to galvanize the people. You don't think that's the spirit of the Most High was behind Malcolm X? Gathering the people, showing them that, and look what Nehemiah had to do. Nehemiah had to leave from where he was to come and gather the people and stir them up. And that's what they don't want. They don't like that. And you see, now you understand why they hated Christ so much, because Christ was moving in that same spirit. But his was more so effective because he was the word. He knew how to bring the people together. He had the answers. And that spirit just travels from one man to the next, down and down and down and down and down until Christ return again. But you see here that they all was working to a goal. They had to fight for something that they wanted. You see that? They had to fight for something that they wanted. But what happened after they built this wall? We understand that they built the wall, they celebrated. And what happened again after that? We went into another captivity because why? We went back to our old ways. We went into the Babylonian captivity. Right? Matter of fact, we went into the Grecian captivity after that. Let's read that. Which actually inspires the Feast of Dedication. Let's go to the book of 1 Maccabees in your Apocrypha. 1 Maccabees chapter 4. Right? And we're not going to read the whole chapter, but we'll read enough of it. So those of you guys who's not familiar with the story, will get the gist of it. And I know for tomorrow, during the feast, we'll read the whole thing in its entirety. But we go into 1 Maccabees 4 and 36, right? Starting at verse 36.
1 Maccabees chapter 4 verse 36. Then said Judas and his brethren, Behold, our enemies are discomfited. Let us go up to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary.
So this is the point of after war, right? The nations, predominantly the children of Edom, all right? During this time, the children of Israel were at war with Idumea at this time, right? they were fighting, and they already came and they desecrated our temple, right? They was sacrificing abominations on our temple, just defiling the whole temple, using the holy utensils and the things that were set apart for the Most High. They just desecrated it. So now, when the children of Israel was winning the war against the children of Esau, they said that, you know what? While they're injured and while they're retreating, let's go and rebuild our temple now. Let's try to go to cleanse it. Let's work together now again to make this happen. Because why? We know that we're suffering. So let's work together, right? Go ahead. Verse 37.
37. Upon this, all the hosts assembled themselves together and went up into Mount Zion. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate and the altar profaned and the gates burned up and the shrubs growing in the courts as in a forest or in one of the mountains, yea, and the priests' chambers pulled down, they rent their clothes and made great lamentation and cast ashes upon their heads. Verse 40. And fell down flat to the ground upon their faces and blew an alarm with the trumpets and cried toward heaven. Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress.
So there was still some of the children of Edom trying to come in while we was trying to clean up the temple or the sanctuary, right? Go ahead.
Until he had cleansed the sanctuary. 42. So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law, who cleansed the sanctuary and bear it out the defiled stones into an unclean place. 44. And when as they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profaned, they thought it be best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it. Wherefore they pulled it down, and laid up the stones in the mountain of the temple in a convenient place, until there should come a prophet to show what should be done with them. Then they took whole stones according to the law, and built a new altar according to the former.
So now here it is, the children of Israel had to work together again to rebuild something that they messed up. They allowed the enemies to come in, and now they had to work together again to fix, right? Go ahead.
48. And made up the sanctuary and the things that were within the temple, and hollowed the courts. 49. They made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the candlestick, and the altar of burnt offerings, and of incense, and the table. Verse 50. And upon the altar they burned incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlestick they lighted, that they might give light in the temple. Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table, and spread out the veils, and finished all the works which they had begun to make. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month.
See, it was repeating itself. You see that? From when it happened with Nehemiah, now it's happening again. In this time, with the children against the children of Edom, he said, on the what?
On the 25th day.
On the 25th day
of the 9th month.
Of the 9th month. On the 9th month. Go ahead.
Which is called the month of Casli.
See, the same month. Go ahead.
In the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning, and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings.
You see that? So on that same month, they sanctified that day, right? For being able to rebuild the temple, right? Working together to rebuild it, right? Go ahead.
Which they had made. 54. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the power of heaven, who had given them good success. And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days.
See, they kept the feast 8 days. Go ahead.
And offered burnt offerings with gladness, and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold and with shields. And the gates and the chambers they renewed, and hanged doors upon them. Thus was there very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away. Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year.
You see that? That's the feast of dedication. Right? Go ahead.
By the space of 8 days.
By the space of 8 days. Go ahead.
From the 25th day of the month of Casliu, with mirth and gladness.
And mirth and gladness. Go ahead.
60. At that time also they builded up the Mount Sion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down as they had done before.
So you see that? So they rebuilt the temple and they rebuilt the high walls again. You see? And remember, we witnessed them. We just read in Nehemiah when they built it back the first time. Now they had to build it again because why? They went off again. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 61. And they set there a garrison to keep it, and fortified Bethsura to preserve it, that the people might have a defense against Idumea.
That the people might have a defense against Idumea. But we understand that that didn't work either. And we're going to get that understanding, right? So we notice in the pattern. The children of Israel go off. The Most High allows the nations to come and destroy us. And then that's when we start to scurry and try to rebuild again. We get set straight for a while. The children of Israel go off again. The Most High allow the nations to come in and spank us, destroy our communities. Then we work together frantically to rebuild again. Right? There's a recurring pattern. And I'm going to tell you this again. This is going to happen to us again. These stories and these histories that we're reading is just preparation for what we're going to have to go through upon Christ's return. Let's read that. Let's read this. Let's read it happening again, and Christ actually predicting it would happen again. Luke 21. Luke 21 and 21. Right? Listen to this. So this is after they rebuilt the temple and sanctified it and built back the wall. Now listen to what Christ said here.
St. Luke 21, verse 21. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
Which all things that are written must be fulfilled, right? Go ahead.
23. But woe unto them.
Sorry, you supposed to start at verse 20, but go back to verse 20, so because we didn't read verse 20. Excuse me.
Verse 20.
Yeah.
And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies.
And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies.
Then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
See, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Why? Because here he is. Christ is trying to teach the people how to prevent this from happening. But yet he's prophesying that it was going to happen again because people were not listening. These things had to happen, right? Now you could go back to verse 22, right?
22. For these be the days of vengeance.
For these be the days of vengeance.
That all things which are written may be fulfilled. 23. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for they shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people.
And wrath upon these people. Go ahead.
24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword.
And they, the children of Israel, shall fall by the edge of the sword again.
And shall be led away captive.
But this time, you're not going to be able to rebuild your city anymore. You guys had your chances. But you will be led away captive. Go ahead.
Into all nations.
Into all nations. Christ was showing the children of Israel, this will be the last time you guys get to rededicate this temple or rebuild your communities. Because you're gonna have to follow. You're gonna have to really feel the repercussions of your disobedience, going into cargo slave ships and slavery. Christ was prophesying that. Go ahead.
24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword.
And shall be led away captive into all nations.
And shall be led away captive unto all nations. Why? Because you want to follow the hirelings. You want to continue to follow the other nations and not lay down your life for your brother or sister. Right? Go ahead.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles.
And your homeland until this day shall be trodden down of the Gentiles.
Until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So now when you look at who's in Jerusalem right now, in the land that you're actually supposed to be in, Christ said Gentiles will be there. So our people is not over there. We don't run that land over there. So that's telling us that those people can't be them. And their time haven't been fulfilled yet. Right? But this only happened because the Most High is showing is and exposing, to us what the nations is doing to us. You see? And they already know the people we got to target. Right? So we see here the Most High was always showing it, right? And Christ was dropping it. Jump down to verse 34. Right?
Verse 34.
Yeah.
And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with suffering and drunkenness and cares of this life. So while we're in this state where we should be working together, we got to be careful not to get carried away with just having a good time and not worried about working together and just saying, you know what, we'll be all right. He gonna be all right. He good. Let's go get a drink. Right? We should be more so preparing for what's next, because the scriptures already gave us the blueprint on how these things are going to play out. Right? Because it's going to happen again. They're going to be able to come against us because why? We're already divided already. Ain't nothing new under the sun. And you see it happening already before your eyes. Why you think every day on the news media they got to show a tweet that Donald Trump says about black people or about the athletes? Or why you think they got to on Sports Center they're only talking about racial tension? Everywhere you turn they're talking about racial black this or white this and black supremacist this, white supremacist. Why do you think they're doing that? They're trying to fuel the battle, knowing that we're already divided. We're gonna be the largest casualties amongst all the nations because we're not together. And the history proves that through the Bible. Go ahead. Verse 35. Verse 35. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore and pray always.
That
ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man.
And only those who's following Christ's word will be able to escape this. Right? Learning how to operate with one another. Caring for one another. Helping each other get to that next level. None of us is going to make it to where Christ wants us to make it if we're trying to operate on your own. Is not going to happen. Christ never taught that. Christ never taught that. Go ahead.
Verse 36. Watch ye therefore. No, 37. Verse 37. And in the daytime he was teaching.
That's it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, 36. That'll finish at 36.
Right?
Yeah.
So we just gave you the history of what Christ was showing us when he said no greater love than this. We went through the history. You see it. And you see the pattern of the children of Israel getting destroyed. We could go throughout the whole Bible and show you that how that keeps happening. And here it is, Christ showed it, but yet we're still suffering and not listening to what he said. And will everybody get it? No. But those who are here is expected of you to operate how Christ taught you how to operate. Right?
That's right.
To wrap this all up, Matthew 11. Right? This is why we got to learn how to rededicate during this feast, using this feast to reflect and to understand that we got to rededicate ourselves, our temples, to one another. We got to learn how to operate with one another, helping each other out. This is what Christ died for. That was his mission. To see the benefit of his sacrifice for his people. To see what they would become. Right? Matthew 11 and 25. To the end.
Say Matthew chapter 11 verse 25. At that time Yeshua answered and said, I thank thee, O Father, Lord and power of heaven and the earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent.
Thou have what?
Thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent.
Thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent. So he's not teaching, your wise so-called scholars and educators to teach this understanding. But he has done what?
Has hid these things from the wise and prudent, and has revealed them unto babes.
And have revealed them unto babes. Go ahead.
26. Even so, Father, for so it seemed good in thy sight. All things are delivered unto me of my Father, and no man knoweth the Son but the Father. Neither knoweth any man the Father save the Son, and he to whomsoever the Son will reveal him. Verse 28. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest.
So Christ is calling all those who want rest to come back and get rest. You've been used and abused by these nations. And look, that's how his love is so everlasting. We went off so crazy where he's calling us whores and harlots, where he still opened up an opportunity for us to come back. That's love. Laying down your life for your friends. Still giving us an opportunity and a chance. Everybody can come back. You understand? Go ahead.
29. Take my yoke upon you.
Take my yoke upon you.
And learn of me.
And what?
And learn of me.
And learn of me. The only way any of us is going to make it out of this is if we learn how Christ did it. Learn of me. Learn of how I show the people. And he's only going to reveal it to those who's listening, who's seeking. Right? Learn of me. Learn how I'm showing you to make it, to get it together. Right? Go ahead.
For I am meek.
I am meek.
And lowly in heart.
And lowly of heart.
And ye shall find rest unto your souls.
You shall find rest unto your soul. Because why? You've been looking for rest through the hands of your slave masters and these other nations. You're not gonna get rest. You will never find it. They're just only here to use, not to build us up. You could work a job for 20, 30 years. You can't give that to your child. It's only for their benefit. Go ahead.
Verse 30. For my yoke is easy.
For my yoke is easy.
And my burden is light.
And my burden is light. Come on. You see? And you see there? That's it. That's the blueprint on how to rededicate our temples back to the Most High. Rededicating our temples. How Christ showed us. He gave us the plan. He gave us the blueprint. He was like, yo, no greater love than this, than a man shall lay down his life for his friends. You think they understood that back then? Because if they did, we wouldn't be in this predicament. But Christ prayed at that time that it would be revealed to us at this day and age. All praise to the Most High, that we understand that. Man, what a lesson. All praise to the Most High. So we're gonna go to the comment section real quick and be able to chop it up with your brothers and sisters for a little bit before we bid you all Godspeed, right? It says, brother Thursdale, Shabbat Shalom. I pray everything is going good with you, man. You said, oh, brother Abe was like, yo, you gotta slow it down with your beard. I'm hearing you're like a cheer pet now, man. Your beard gang out here. That's what's up, though, man. Going back to the Hebrew roots. Shanae M, Shabbat Shalom, and happy feast of dedication, y'all. Happy feast of dedication to you, sister. And thank you for coming in on the stream with us. Shabbat Shalom. Brianna Griffith, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. All praises to Ahaya, Ashar Ahaya. Ba'ashem Yeshaya, Warawak Kwadash. Hope you all have a blessed feast of dedication. Yes, and we will. And we pray that you also have a blessed feast of dedication, right? Yeshua Watts, happy feast of dedication. Shabbat Shalom, family. Shabbat Shalom, Ak.
Shabbat Shalom.
Kendra Rush, Shabbat Shalom, sister.
Happy feast.
Happy feast. Who else? Oh, Kendra Rush. I said that right? Yeah. Cassandra H. Shabbat Shalom, family. All praises to Ahaya Bahashim Yeshaya Warawak. Happy feast of dedication coming up as well, right? All praises to the Most High. Shabbat Shalom, brother Linzel.
Shalom.
So I see those spirits I see those spirits didn't want this lesson coming out. I got a lot of understanding in that St. John 15 and 13 was deep. Con all praises. I'm telling you, man, I'm sitting there trying to read and put it together because, like I said, and I'm surprised I still remember this lesson. It's been in my spirit for like 2 weeks. I finally got a chance to actually sit down and go through it. And as soon as I'm sitting down, my phone ringing, going off, I end that conversation. I'm going into it. Phone ringing again, text messages, everything going off. It's just crazy today, but all praise to the Most High, man. KC Boston, Shabbat Shalom, Ak. We miss you already, man. Can't wait to, and I especially can't wait till all you guys come back, man.
It's gonna be live.
It's gonna
or
it's gonna be lit,
right? What is it?
Yeah, man.
Lit.
That's the new term.
Yeah.
All right. Any announcements, real quick? I know we got the feast for tomorrow.
We got the Passover feast payment.
Oh yeah, the last portion of the payment.
Today's December 1st.
You got 14 more days.
December 15th. You gotta make it by that day.
Right, 14 more days to put in your last payment. And like as Sister Yanako like to say, if you don't, you'll be sleeping on the stairs. Right. But yeah, please make it your business to do that. We also have, before Passover, we have Purim. And this Purim, we're definitely trying to do some good works for our people this Purim. With all of the contributions from all of the brothers and sisters in here and everybody abroad who's been donating to the GoFundMe page, we thank you guys. You guys will see. You guys will see where your contributions is going to. It's not going to our pockets. It's really going to helping and feeding and helping the Most High's people. So we will be, that'll be next, right? And we want to also thank all the brothers and sisters out there who's been contributing and and really helping and pushing this work forward. We give all praises to the Most High for you guys. We pray for you guys. We love you guys. Keep hope alive and keep strong in the spirit. What else? You want to take over from here?
Yeshua says, great lesson. He says, family, I have to emphasize when you said Christ came not to have a will. Eyes widen.
Right, exactly. Like he didn't come, like you see how we are today. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to do them. I'm doing me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's want to do me, but don't want to do for us. Christ didn't teach that, So we gotta start to train ourselves to be more like that, making sure that we helping each other, because the other nations is not looking to help us. So we all we got, right? Because when we in that, if the Most High allows us to make it to that wilderness, we gonna see who's really down for you. You gonna see who's down for you and who's really not down for you. We got a little taste of that during Tabernacles, and next year Tabernacles is going to be even greater, so we're going to really get to experience how to operate as a unit. When there's no form of electricity or your conventional means of life. Who's really down for you? Yeah.
Casey says great lesson, Ak. He was on fire. Precept after precept.
All praise to the Most High. The Most High is on fire. He must increase and I must decrease.
Shabbat Shalom, Mickey. She says, Shabbat Shalom, happy feast. Miss you guys so much. See you soon.
Shabbat Shalom, sister.
Twan, Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, Shabbat, brother Twan.
He goes, Shalom, family, all praise to the Most High, Ahaya. Me and my wife, Ebony, was just talking about parts of this lesson today.
Oh, wow, really? All praise to the Most High.
The spirit is moving.
That's what's up. All praise to the Most High. Hope you guys got some edification tonight, right?
Yeshua comes back. He said, if the nation of Israel saw our walk in Christ like that, we don't have our own will. Oh man, we would really be able to accomplish when Yeshua said, greater works will you than himself. Oh, Shanae M, she says, don't want to seem off topic, but all your brothers are GOCCs, perhaps. Great lesson, by the way. Most definitely enjoyed it.
Well, of course, we're with them in spirit. You know, we're all being guided by the same Spirit. We're not with them, you know,
Physically.
on a physical level, right? You know, but those are our teachers. You know, Elder Ricard, much respect and, you know, and honor to him. Brother, you know, Elder Gabar, Elder Lawyer. You know, these are all great men, all great brothers that, you know, that we've learned from. You know, right now, you know, we can't physically be together, but, you know, we're still doing the work.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a great viewpoint. I know you probably see the style is a little bit the same, you know, it's because it's all the same spirit. You understand? It's all the same spirit. It's all love. Con. What else we have going on?
Mickey C said, listening to this whole lesson, all she could think about was 2nd Esdras chapter 1, 6 through 11.
2nd Esdras 1, 6 to 11. Let's read a little bit of that. Spirit was moving in the sister right now. You know what I'm saying? 2nd Esdras 6. 2nd Esdras 6, 1 to 11.
2nd Esdras 1, 6 through 11.
Oh, 2nd Esdras 1. Real quick.
Second Esdras chapter 1, verse 6. Because the sins of their fathers are increased in them, for they have forgotten me and have offered unto strange gods. Am not I even he that brought them out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage? But they have provoked me unto wrath and despised my counsels. Pull thou off then the hair of thy head, and cast all evil upon them, for they have not been obedient unto my law, but is a rebellious people. How long shall I forbear them, into whom I have done so much good? Many kings have I destroyed for their sakes. Pharaoh with his servants and all his power have I smitten down. Verse 11, all the nations have I destroyed before them. And in the east I have scattered the people of 2 provinces, even of Tyrus and Sidon, and have slain all their enemies. Yeah.
Con. That is a great backup scripture to what we just went into, and that's is you know, is pretty evident. You know, pretty evident. That was a great point.
Oh, she answers back the water, definitely.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just wanted to clarify. Maybe we need to clarify that for more people, but you know, when the time comes, you know, we'll definitely get to that. Yeshaya Watts.
He says, your quote reminds me when Paul said, I am a prisoner of Christ, and all I think is a prisoner can do not what he wants. A prisoner does whatever the guards say, want and require, so therefore I will.
Con. Great insight, brother. And you were supposed to call me, you didn't even call me yet, but we're going to talk, I guess, when we got some free time.
We all have to do the same thing in Christ.
We all have to do the same thing in Christ, Con. All right, well, we're going to have to bid you all Godspeed pretty soon. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that we're missing to say before we sign off. First John, this is has 1 John 3. 1 John 3, verse 11. 1 John 3 and 11.
For this is the message that ye heard from the beginning, that we should love one another. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil, and his brother's righteous. 13. Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hate you. 14. We know that we have passed from death unto life, because we love the brethren. He that loveth not his brother abideth in death.
Abideth in death.
And then if you go down to 16.
Verse 16. Hereby perceive we the love of our power, because he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren.
I thought when you talk broke it down, and that when you love someone, you should show them that you love them and you've given up yourself
For
to
it.
help others.
Right.
And when you do something for the benefit of others, it's not conditional. You don't want something back in
You want,
return.
yeah.
The payment should be you're happy seeing it done
Yes.
to others.
Right.
And so, and we're going to talk about don't follow Cain
Mm-hmm.
because he slew his brother out of jealousy. Right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I thought that was so similar in the John 15,
Verse 15.
verse 13. Yes.
Con. And those are all great supporting scriptures to help edify, you know, the message, you know, just trying to get the general point across of, you know, just really looking out for each other. And, you know, in a time where no one else is looking out for us, these nations don't care about us. Like, you'll watch the news, and this is why I don't like watching the news. You'll watch the news and they'll show like 10 crimes happening that happened throughout the night, and it'll all be black people. Like, so you mean to tell me only black people commit crimes? So there's no other races in the United States that's creating crimes, but they have to magnify us to keep us, you know, looking at each other weird when we pass each other in the street. Like, yo, he could be the next person that robbed me. They did it so well, and they got us to not even trust each other. So this is something that we have to work on, and only through Christ we can actually work through that and make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeshua says,
But I think there's some.
no, that's it.
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeshua comes back and says, this is the only time school got him.
Oh, okay. I guess from
Yeah. Jenny Shalom, sis. Jenny says, peace and love, blessings to the body.
Shalom, sis.
Happy feast. I came across the scripture today and would like to share with the body. She put part 2, Numbers 6 and 22. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 23.
Go
Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, on this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Most High make his face shine upon thee and be gracious upon thee. The Most High lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And you typed all this? And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them.
Con.
Oh, you see they got the green?
All praise to the Most High.
Let's go. We're back, y'all.
Con. All praises to the Most High with that blessing.
I was looking for that video that I sent you earlier. That lady, I'm looking for her name.
Oh, the black lady.
Yeah, it's a counter to that.
Right. How she viewed.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna take care of whoever's paying me.
Mm-hmm.
In the Joy Villa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I feel like this
It's something else, right.
to that to say, who you sending with? You sending with them?
Them
you
or
sending
so
with
us,
people?
right. Anyway, it's just a level of miseducation with our people when they, you know, come up and, you know, stand against us instead of trying to, you know, understand why a lot of our people is the way they are. But, you know, it's no fault to them. All right, well, you know, we're going to have to bid you all Godspeed. And like we say every week, brothers and sisters, we want to thank you guys for, you know, joining us every week, you know, being faithful subscribers, faithful listeners to the words of the Most High, you know, allowing the Most High to, you know, to open up your understanding and, you know, receiving more edification on something that you probably missed or something that you were supposed to hear. So we want to thank you guys for, you know, just being the ears that the words of the Most High fell upon, that you can go and communicate this to somebody else at a different time. Right? We want to thank you guys for that, and we want to give all praises again to the Most High Ahaya by Hashem Yeshaya, Robo Wakwadash, who gives the knowledge and understanding. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, every week it could have been anywhere on a Friday night, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. So we want to thank you and bid you all, you know, a hearty Shabbat Shalom and have a happy feast of dedication tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Make sure you guys read the book of First Maccabees. First Maccabees, excuse me, chapter 4, the 4th chapter. I miss all the ones and numbers in front of the words. So First Maccabees, the 4th chapter, just to commemorate and, you know, celebrate like how people did it, singing, dancing, food, eating, you know, and have fun in the Most High, right? So we want to bid you a Shabbat Shalom and Godspeed and say Kwame Asharala.
Kwame Asharala.
Until next week, all right? Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, family. Where's this thing?